Good morning, everybody. How are you? Today is Tuesday, and I hope if you're here in the States, you've had a wonderful holiday weekend. And if you're not here in the States, I hope you've had a wonderful holiday weekend too. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening here. If in fact I'm live on Instagram. I am. So, hi guys on Instagram. Hello to everyone on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. And we are talking about yelling at children and what happens when we yell. Yelling is like assumed that yelling is okay. Everybody yells at their kids, don't they? Well, the truth is probably welcome from Ghana. Thank you for joining. Probably yelling at kids happens just like yelling at anybody happens. But the problem is when you thank you. I just had it done. Do you like it? I like it. The problem is when you are yelling consistently at your children, like every day you yell. So, before I introduce myself to people that haven't joined us before, let me ask you if you're on live right now, tell me if you yell at your kids. You can like put an emoji, you can put a hand up. Tell me if you yell at your kids on a daily basis. Okay. And while you're doing that, I'm going to tell you who I am. So if you're new to my broadcast, I'm Celia Kibler, family and relationship empowerment coach. I am the award winning author of Raising Happy Toddlers, How to Build Great Parenting Skills and Stop Yelling at Your Kids, and 3 children's books. I am grateful, all about me, and being different is fun. By the way, makes great holiday gifts. And you can get those at celiasbooks.com. I am also the founder of the Day of Calm Foundation, the founder of Pumped Up Parenting, welcome from London, and the founder of FunFit Family Fitness. So my life has been all about children. I do so they stop fighting. I have 3 difference of 2 years. So you yell, I'm just going to reply to your comment. You yell at them to stop them from fighting. Think about that for a minute. Okay? And I'm going to say everything we do, good or not so good, we give our children permission to do. So if you are trying to get your children to stop fighting, hello from India, why are you yelling at them? You're only teaching them to yell. It's actually not the only language they understand. It's because you don't know a better way to parent your children. I have raised 5 children. 2 I gave birth to and 3 I gained through marriage. I've successfully parented this blended family for over 28 years without having to yell. Rarely. I can't even think of times I've yelled. 28 years, and I've been a real live mom for 41 years without yelling. And I have had cooperation, and I have had listening, and people and my kids did chores and had responsibilities without having to yell. Understand that it is your inability to communicate to your children what you need them to do and how to respect them and teach them what true respect is. You need all of that to have kids cooperate without you having to yell. Okay? Yes, it is wonderful. And you can do it. Everybody can do it. You just have to learn a better way. Yes, I changed my hair. I got to cut this weekend. I know it really needed it. Oh, thanks, CL. How are you? So good to have you on with me. I love when you're on. So, first, I want to talk to you a little bit about, did your husband help you? Yes. We were always on the same page. My husband, first husband, and my second husband, the father of my 3 sons that blended this marriage with me. We are both people that do not believe in yelling because yelling is disrespectful. And if you're trying to teach a child to be respectful, you are not doing that by yelling because you're being disrespectful to them. You know how many parents ask me, "How do I control tantrums? How do I stop tantrums from happening?" Tantrums happen with little kids because their subconscious mind spits out automatically a reaction to them being disappointed. So let me give you a little insight. If you are screaming and yelling at your children, you never learned how to control a tantrum in yourself because you are having a tantrum. Your child's tantrum is no different than you screaming and yelling at your children. It is basically a tantrum, an adult tantrum, because you are now out of control. You are not able to control your own emotion or regulate your own emotion. And your children are not born with that ability. So if you don't teach them how to regulate their emotions, they will never know how. And if you can't regulate your emotions, you can't teach them. That's why I have books. That's why I do private and group coaching. But let me tell you a little bit about what consistent yelling does to a child. And you may relate to some of this because if you've been yelled at, you will feel those things as well. Okay. So when a child is yelled at, this is what it creates. You're trying to get them to have more behavior. Yelling at a child creates behavior problems. It creates anxiety, depression, stress, emotional issues, low self-esteem, low confidence, low self-worth. Kids grow up thinking they're the bad kids. They believe nothing they do is right. Think about your childhood if you were yelled at. Did you feel like anything you did was right, or did you feel like everything you did was wrong? And now take those feelings and put them into an adult. That is why this society is so filled with adults, teenagers, early young adults that are filled with anger and rage because their parents instilled anger and rage in them. It doesn't create a child who's cooperative, it creates a child who's fearful, and it creates a child who's angry. Do you like to be yelled at? Raise your hand or put some emoji in if you love being yelled at. Who was the last person that yelled at you and how much did you enjoy it? Nobody likes being yelled at. Not children, not grown-ups. And when was the last screaming match you had with either another adult or a child that actually accomplished or resolved anything? Negative, right? Didn't resolve anything and doesn't accomplish anything except making it all worse and making everyone else angry. We will never resolve the anger and rage that goes on in this world if we do not learn how to parent through calm, respectful communication. Does that mean we don't have consequences in place? Absolutely not. You have to have consequences. You have to have limits and boundaries. You have to have mutual respect. You have to have love. You have to have fun. You have to have encouragement. You don't have to have yelling. I can believe that you didn't have to yell, but you have a strong and stern voice, so it was most likely to get through to the children. I agree yelling at them. Actually, I do have a stern voice. I do have a strong voice, and I teach. And there are times when you have to speak firmly. But the majority of the time, I speak just like I speak all the time. When I'm talking to my children, when I'm talking to my husband, I always use my manners. Always. I always say please and thank you. I speak with a smile. You are lacking abilities to parent coy. You don't know how to encourage a child to cooperate. They want to cooperate. They ultimately want to make you proud of them. I know it doesn't seem like that sometimes, but they do. They want nothing more than their parents to be proud of them. They love you unconditionally. They are born with very underdeveloped brains. You know what's in our brains when we're born? A lot of emotion and nothing else except human needs. We need to eat, we need to sleep, we need to drink, we need to communicate. But as a baby, we don't have language. We communicate through tears, crying, movements, stuff like that. Language is taught like emotional intelligence is taught. If you believe that the only way to get through to your child is to yell at them or hit them, you need to decide to learn a better way. Do you enjoy it when you yell at a child? Do you enjoy hitting a child? How many parents have a child who's throwing a tantrum and you get hit and you scream at that child or you give them a spanking? That doesn't make logical sense to hit a child if you're teaching them not to hit. They don't know better, you do. Parents will say to me, "Well, you have to admit, sometimes there is an appropriate time to hit a child." To which I ask, "When is an appropriate time to hit you? When can I come over to you and smack you? When is that time? Tell me. When is it appropriate for your spouse to hit you or for your friend to hit you? When is it appropriate? It's never appropriate." If you feel the only way to get your child to do something is to yell at them, you need to learn a better way. Now, but take a little break because you can take advantage of the Black, what is the Monday, Cyber Monday, whatever names are, special. And that is at parentingspecial.com. If somebody wants to write that in the comments, parentingspecial.com. That will teach you. You'll get 21 days of emails telling you what you need to incorporate so that you can stop yelling at your children. I'm on a mission to help 10 million parents stop yelling at their children. And thank you for being here because you're now a part of it. If you are really ready to learn a better way, go to parentingspecial.com. Okay. But I want to dive in more about what yelling does to your children. When give me like an emoji or give me some kind of sign that says, "Thank you, honey, for putting that in. I appreciate that." Something that tells me yes to this question. Do you tend to second guess yourself? Do you tend to second guess yourself? So here's an example. You're with a bunch of people and they go, "So, what do you want to eat for dinner?" And you're like, "I'd really like to eat some sushi." But you're not going to speak up because you may be actually like concerned about what other people are going to think. They're going to go, sushi. I don't want any sushi." And then you'll feel badly. Or you always worry about what other people think of you. Good morning to everybody. You always worry about what other people think. Is that you? Do you second guess yourself? Is that you? You know how that happened and why that is? is because you don't have enough confidence to speak up. You don't have the confidence to say what is in your heart because you're afraid of being judged. Why? Because somewhere along the line of your childhood journey, you were yelled at a lot, you were judged and criticized a lot. And when we're constantly judged and criticized, we second guess ourselves and we grow up afraid of what other people think of us. Makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, this is kind of logical. We have to remember that our children come to this earth without emotional regulation. They can't help hitting you. Sometimes it's just a result, but you have to lay the law down and say, I will not let you hit me. Somebody mentions you speak firmly. That you do speak firmly. I will not let you hit me. I will not let you bite me. I will not let you hit your brother. I still am all of what you mentioned. I learned not to worry what others think of me and how I move around in my life. Yes. And it takes work. But can you imagine this, guys. Imagine we all raised our kids with all the pieces of the puzzle that creates a positive parenting system. We communicated calmly. We were the example of calm. We had limits and boundaries in place. We have good consequences in place that teach. We have encouragement in place. We have schedules and routines in place. We are consistent with what we do. We are good role models for our children. We are the type of person we want to see. Yes, it would be such a kind, calm world that's not filled with all this rage and anger and violence. And segue, that's why I started the Day of Calm Foundation. That is my dream with the International Day of Calm on April 5th, that we all work to do this. But during the year, not just April 5th, we have to teach parents. We have to teach kids in schools. We have to go to the universities and teach older kids to take responsibility. Stop judging, stop criticizing, stop ridiculing just because you don't agree with someone else. You know what? We can live our lives with other people and not necessarily agree on everything and go on with our lives. It's okay because we all have valid reasons why we believe certain things. Yes or yes. You taught me how to communicate with my kids. We grow daily. It is a daily battle not to revert to shut down or pointing fingers at them. Thank you. I'm so glad you are learning. We can create a calm world if we're intentional. And if you believe in this mission, we also, in the Day of Calm Foundation, we support a wonderful school in Uganda. And today on Giving Tuesday, I ask you to help us support this school by going to rescueaschool.org. If you are planning on giving $1, five, I don't care what you give, everything will help these kids and build these wonderful kids in Uganda a new school. If you are interested in donating to the Day of Calm, our website, unfortunately, our websites are down right now temporarily. It's a terrible time to be down. But if you would like to donate to the Day of Calm, our website is dayofcalm.org. But do me a favor and go to rescueaschool.com because that helps the school and helps our mission to calm this world. But if you want to help out, start right here in your home. Start deciding, you know what? I'm not going to yell anymore. I'm not going to be the parent that teaches my child to be a yeller, to grow up, to be angry and raging. We have plenty of that. All these politics, that all these people in different countries that start wars are raging humans. that think that they're right and everyone else is wrong. It's happening all over the world. What if we didn't have to have generation after generation of people having to recover from their childhood? Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we started raising generations of kids that become adults and blossom from their childhood? Someone asked a question, what if your toddler is hyperactive, running, touching, not gentle at all times? How should I handle that? I stay in a big family. My daughter's 3 years old. You have to put these things in place. You have to start offering choices in the correct way. You have to be calm. You have to set up limits and boundaries. You have to have consequences. You have to schedule. It's not just one tip, guys. All of these things that are happening in your home are symptoms of a core problem. If I give you one tip, you put a Band-Aid on it. Let's make a scenario that a dear friend of mine offered me yesterday. I want to give it to you. Say your child's playing outside and they run in and they cut themselves and you put a Band-Aid on it and they go back out and play. And then they come back in and they run in, they put a Band-Aid on another cut. This is their second cut. And they go back out and play and you go about your business. Then they come in, they cut themselves again, you put another Band-Aid on it and they go back outside and you go about your business. At no point after all these Band-Aids are you going out to find out what the problem is. There's something happening out there that is causing your child to constantly cut their fingers. It's the same at home. If you're having all these issues and all you do is expect to put a little Band-Aid on it, you are not resolving the core problem. And the core problem is you're not taking accountability for you. And you are not putting a parenting system in place in your home. You are being reactive instead of proactive. Yes, you do need to release your kids' energy. Kids have energy. They need it to be released. And if you don't burn their energy through activity, through fun, through taking them outside and letting them run, they're going to burn that energy through screaming, yelling, tearing up the place. They have to burn energy. Thank you for that comment. You have to take accountability. You have to stop blaming your kids and start looking in the mirror. Children are not born with logic and reasoning. They are not even born with the difference between reality and fantasy. That doesn't happen until they're 6, 7 years old. It is up to us to help their brain grow. Our brains don't stop developing till we're 25 years old. 25. Your 2-year-old is 23 years away from a fully developed brain. If you're expecting your child, you are so welcome, honey. If you're expecting your child to respond to you like an adult, it is not just difficult for them, it's impossible. They are not adults. They do not have what you have in their brain. And if you are teaching them that when you get disappointed, you yell, guess what they learn? When I get disappointed, I yell just like mommy and daddy. Or if you're having a relationship between the two of you, the two parents, and you guys are yelling at each other and calling names and cussing, that is your child's normal for a relationship. Guess what they're learning? How to yell and fight and cuss and call names. Thank you for joining me, guys. I really appreciate it. And if this is giving you value, share it out. Share it out. And the 2 sites we talked about was if you want to give on Giving Tuesday, help us with the Day of Calm Foundation and go to rescueaschool.com to help this school in Uganda that we are building permanent buildings for and helping them with teacher and finances, all of that. You'll find out more there. If you are ready to start right here in your home and make a change and say, you know what? There is a better way. You know why? Because there is a better way. Go to parentingspecial.com. You're going to get a whole parenting system sent right to you for a hugely discounted price. Okay. Now let's talk more about yelling. Okay, let me do this. I'm going to ask you guys that are on with me, why do you yell? Why do you yell? Put it down in the comments if you're willing. I have asked thousands upon thousands upon thousands of parents why they yell. I get two answers for the most part. One is, I don't know any better. And that is because they were raised by yellers. They're yellers for generations, and it is a generational cycle. Others will say, because I start out nice and I ask over and over and over again, and they don't listen until I yell because they don't listen. Thank you, Sweetie Cakes. Sweetie Cakes, are you a baker? Do you bake? They don't listen. They're not listening to you. The reason they're not listening is because of the way you're asking. You may be demanding, oh, you love cakes. Kind of delicious, right? Who doesn't love cake? I love cake too. It's the way you're asking, number one. And it's what you have set up. Let me give you some examples. Okay, guys, and take notes. Take notes. Okay. Get a pen. Here's a pen. I don't know why I'm showing you a pen. I'm pretty sure you know what a pen looks like. Paper. Take notes. Okay. I'm going to give you an example. Your child is playing on their video games. Okay. Happens often. You walk in and you say, son, time to come to dinner. You even add, please. Honey, time to come to dinner, please. And you walk away. 5 minutes go by, no child. My mom and dad all my aunties and uncles yelled. Now I yell, and I hate that I really want to stop. Honey, talk to me. Go to parentingspecial.com. Somebody has to end that generational cycle. Somebody has to end it. I hope it's you. Okay, so you go back to your child. You go, you need to stop playing, please. Time for dinner. Walk away. 5 minutes go by, nothing happens. Go back, you get a little irritated. Honey, please stop. It's time for dinner. Nothing's happening. You go back 5 minutes later, now you're screaming. I told you to stop. Stop doing it. You turn off the console, you pull it out, whatever you do, now they come to dinner. Okay, here's the thing about that. The problem actually isn't the yelling. The problem is that you're asking over and over and over again. You shouldn't have to ask a child more than one time, twice at the most. Your child only takes you seriously when you yell because that's when you're serious. You have actually, ready for this, trained your child to wait until you yell. Look at your child's point of view. They're playing their video games. You come in, you tell them to stop. They know they can still play. Then you come back, tell them to stop. They're still playing. They gained 15 more minutes of video game time before you got serious. What if you did this instead? What if you went in and said, honey, I need you to turn off your video games, please. It's time to come to dinner. They don't come. And then you go back there and you say, honey, it's dinner time. Boom. You push the button. The game goes off. You unplug it. Consoles are portable. And you walk away. End. The end. The game is done. Now it's time to come to dinner. No yelling. It just ended. You ended it. Now, when you say every time, stop playing and come to dinner, they're going to take you seriously because every time they don't, you take the console. One and done, I call it. You have to be serious when you talk to your children. You have to follow through. If they're not listening, help them to listen. The wonderful thing about tablets, phones, video game consoles, they're all portable. Now there's some options. You can encourage them by earning points and things for listening. Humans are motivated much more through encouragement than through punishment. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Absolutely. Integrity. If you say, honey, if you don't stop playing, I'm going to take your console away, and then you never do, why should they listen? Now, you can also offer choice, which is much better, a transitional choice. Like, oh, I see you're playing. Honey, do you want 1 or 2 more minutes to play and then it's time for dinner? Let them pick when they want to stop. I'll take 2 minutes. You give them the time choice, but let them pick from 2 times. And then I'm telling you, I don't have time to give you all the details of this time choice, but it works. Now, some of you go, oh, I do that. I tell them in 5 minutes, they have to come to dinner. That is still telling them. If you simply say, do you want 2 or 4 more minutes? Now you're setting up the time choice, but you are asking them and they are taking responsibility for the choice they made. So you are not just teaching responsibility, you're also teaching integrity. You do what you say. You said you would stop in 4 minutes. The alarm went off. Now it's time for you to stop. You're teaching respect 2 different ways. You're respecting them. They're learning to respect you. Respect is learned. Yelling is always, always disrespectful. There is never a time when yelling at another person is respectful. Never. We need to start learning to respect each other in this world. We need to start learning about each other in this world. Someone's different, learn about them. My children's book, Being Different is Fun, is all about learning about the person next to you that's different. Because you know what? We have so much more in common than we do different. I'm willing to bet all of you on here right now have a face, have arms, have legs, have eyes, ears, nose, mouth. What if you lay the rule and follow through, but they still don't listen? How do I not yell when this happens? You lay the rule and follow through, but they don't listen. Well, then there's a consequence. There's a consequence for them not listening. Not yelling. Something happens. There is a consequence. And you tell them, if this doesn't happen, this is the consequence. Even better, if they're a little older, ask them what they want for a consequence. They're always much harder on themselves than you will ever be. And then you follow through with the consequence. Every single time should be the same consequence to the situation. Anytime that situation comes up, that consequence results. I'll give you the perfect consequence in the world: a speeding ticket. Why is it perfect? We all speed, and we know the consequence of speeding is a ticket. So we are making an educated choice. We're not surprised. Oh my gosh, I didn't know I would get a ticket. Well, what else makes it perfect? The policeman pulls us over. He writes out a ticket. He hands it to us. That is our consequence. It is related to the crime. We were speeding, we get a speeding ticket. He does not take our keys away. He does not tow us away unless you were like seriously out of control. That's different. But like normal speeding. In fact, he lets you start your engine and drive right off. It is reasonable. It would be unreasonable if you were just speeding down the road, not out of control, and they towed your car away. That would be unreasonable. So it is reasonable. And it is, here's the key, and this is how people learn and how you teach with consequences. You don't teach with punishment. It is repeatable. Every time you speed, you risk getting a ticket. It is the same consequence to that situation. That's how consequences work, and that's how they should work in your home. Okay. I don't even know what time it is because I've been going on and I have like a client pretty soon, a few minutes. Okay. So I hope this helped you. It will be saved so you can listen to it again. But remember, your children's inability to listen is your inability to learn a better way. Let me close with this. Everything in life is a choice. Nobody makes you do anything. Nobody. You cannot say, of course you can PM me. Absolutely. Always. I'm here to help you guys. You cannot say, my kids made me yell at them. No, they didn't. You decided to yell at them. They may trigger you. We get triggered by a lot of things, but it is ultimately our decision to yell, scream, hit, whatever. That is our decision. You know, when I told you before, I don't do that. I don't yell at my children. That's because I made a decision not to yell at my children. What, have I been triggered in the past? Of course. Has something irritated me? Of course. But I made a decision not to take it to the next level, to be the example to my children of how you can handle disappointment and things that make you upset in a calm, cooperative, productive way. I decide. No one decides for me, and no one can decide for you. Everything in life is a choice. Everything. You can choose not to yell. You can choose, I need to learn a better way. Because that's what you're teaching your children. If you respond with yelling and aggression because they disappointed you, you are teaching them to do the same. I hope this helps. Think about it, please. If you want change in your home, reach out to me. Take advantage of the Cyber Monday special at parentingspecial.com. And if you really enjoyed this broadcast and you appreciate my broadcast, I would be so grateful if you would donate to the Day of Calm and to our school in Uganda so that we can build this incredible school who is helping these kids that are homeless and orphans and dealing with AIDS. It's just such a wonderful school. If you are willing to go to rescueaschool.com, if this was helpful, and just, I appreciate all the thank yous and the love. I would love, even if you can give $1, whatever you can will help get that school built. And that will warm my help. And then we can help even more schools. I love it. I'm so glad you learned a lot. How do we donate? Go to rescueaschool.com. Maybe somebody can, put it, how do you do that? Put in the comments. Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. And any, let me say, any badges, any of that stuff that gets bought during any of my lives, I put right to the Day of Calm Foundation. The Day of Calm, if you're in the United States, is a 50c3 nonprofit organization. You can go on my Instagram page. I am still collecting money. I think there's still a thing where you can donate to the Day of Calm Foundation. You can choose that foundation for your Giving Tuesday and donate to the Day of Calm Foundation. Mark your calendars, rescueaschool.com. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, that supports our school in Uganda. And mark your calendars for April 5th, guys. That's the International Day of Calm. We have speakers for 3 days. We do a summit all about helping you help yourself, your families, your communities. How can I stop my son from hitting, and what is impulse control for 5 years old? Okay, I'm just going to answer that real quick because there's a lot of stuff involved. Like I said, can't just have one tip. Oh, I'm so glad, Randy. Thank you so much, honey. You can firmly say, I will not let you hit me. I will not let you hit me, and then put him down. If he's near you, if he's in whatever, don't let him hit you. Okay, guys, I really got to go. I have a client. Reach out to me if you want to talk more. You want to work privately in group, anything, all of that's open. Okay. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for spending time out of your busy schedule to be here with me. I'm seriously grateful. I hope you have an amazing holiday season, and I'll see you next week, Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time for another live broadcast. Bye-bye, everyone.